Hello kids, hope you all are well and must be studying well as you all are in class 10. Till now we have done asexual reproduction and its types, where we had seen fission and its two types, that is binary and multiple fission, budding, regeneration, fragmentation, spore formation, that is pollination, and vegetative propagation. We have also seen sexual reproduction in plants, where we had seen the types and parts of a flower. Parts means the vegetative and reproductive parts of a flower, life cycle of a plant, pollination, its types and agents involved in the process of pollination, fertilization and post fertilization in plants, and we had also seen the process of germination in brief, right? And we had also seen the variety of diagrams which are extremely important from exam point of view also, right? Today's topic will be the sexual reproduction in animals, in which we will see the puberty, male and female reproductive system, and at last we will talk about reproductive health. Okay, so let us see what is puberty. It is the process of physical changes through which a child's body matures into an adult body capable of sexual reproduction. So this is the time in an individual which happens after few years. Now why these things are happening after few years? Because in the beginning of the life, your body is undergoing so many changes regarding the essential life processes which we have learnt in sixth lesson, that is the digestive system, respiratory, excretory, and so on, right? Once your body is completely done with all those essential life processes, then your body prepares itself for the process of reproduction, and for that so many changes are noticed in your own self, right? It is a process that usually happens between the ages 10 to 14 for girls and ages 12 to 16 for boys, which causes physical changes and affects boys and girls differently. Now, whatever ages are defined here, that completely depends on the environment and the feeding habit of the individual. It's these are the average ages I can say, right? Because sometimes it happens that some of the child or some of the female or male may get such maturity at a very early age also, right? That is completely depend on the inheritance, that is from the parents, and even the environment where the individual lives, right? It results in very rapid somatic growth, brain development, sexual maturation, and attainment of reproductive capacity. It is accompanied by final maturation of multiple organ systems and major changes in the central nervous system and psychosocial behavior. Now, you must have noticed certain sudden changes in your own self also, right? In this topic today we are going to discuss so many sensitive things regarding our own body, right? If you are a boy, it may be possible that you may feel shy, but it is necessary for us to know about the human body, right? So when we are discussing such things, being a science individual, that is being from the science stream, we should not feel shame, right? So please keep your shame in your pocket and learn all these topics in detail. Fine. Now let us see what initiates puberty. We know that hormones from pituitary gland. Now about hormones we will discuss in detail in 7th lesson. So the hormones from pituitary gland stimulate testes and ovaries to release testosterone, that is a male sexual hormone, and estrogen, that is a female sexual hormone. Means these two hormones are stimulated means they are getting activated for showing some kind of new characteristics in the individual, right? Now these hormones will be released in the bloodstream and they will reach the target site, that is the target parts of the body. Means wherever these hormones are required, they will be transported into that particular organ only, that is known as the target site. Fine. Once they will reach the target site, they will complete their work, and this leads to variety of characteristics, that is a variety of changes in the body at onset of puberty. Did you understand what happens? The hormones from the pituitary gland will be stimulated by the gonads. Now what are gonads? They are the reproductive organs. And what is the reproductive organ in a male? That is testis, and in female we know that it is ovary, right? These two organs will start releasing testosterone in a male and estrogen in a female respectively. Once they are released, they will be in the bloodstream through the transportation system. They will reach the target site of the body, and once they will reach there, it will start showing the changes in the body. Okay? Now we will discuss about the secondary sexual characteristics. Now the name itself will give you a big question mark, that what do you mean by secondary sexual characteristics. Now these are called the secondary sexual characteristics because they are not present from the time of birth. They are getting developed after the few years of your birth. Okay, that is the sexual characteristics which are exhibited by the individual during the time of puberty, they are known as secondary sexual characteristics. Now what are primary sexual characteristics? They are such characteristics which are already present from the birth time, which will identify you whether you are a male or a female. Okay? So in girls, what are the secondary sexual characteristics we observe when the girl reaches the time of puberty? So that is the development of breasts and body gets curvier and menstruation cycles. About this we will discuss in detail afterwards. Now let us see what happens in a male. Body and facial hair growth, that is the growth of beard and mustache, broadening of shoulders, cracking of voice, growth of scrotum, testes and penis. Fine. So these are the two different secondary sexual characteristics which will be identical for the male and a female, right? So these are the different characteristics you have to remember. Fine. And these are the points, or I can say these are the common secondary sexual characteristics which are found in a male as well as in a female. That is increase in body odor, that is you start using the deodorant and perfumes, right? Increase in height, acne, that is your skin starts releasing oil, right? So you start getting pimples also, right? Oily skin, hair growth and darkening of skin in genitals and armpit. So in the center box, whatever notes or whatever points I have given you, they are the common points for a male as well as a female, and the points which are given in the cloud, they are uncommon to a male and a female. So if in exam it is asked that note down the secondary sexual characteristics for a male, then along with the common points you have to note down the uncommon points also, and the same goes for the female also. Fine. So you have to learn all these points and note it down in your book also. Fine. Now let us discuss about the male reproductive system. This is the side view of a male reproductive system which is already given in your textbook also, and the diagram is extremely important. Okay, before we proceed, you need to know the names of the organs present in the system. So let us start with the scrotum, in which the testes are located. From testes the vas deferens is coming out. On the way it is getting seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and one more gland is there. The labeling is not given, but it is the Cowper's gland, or it is also known as bulbourethral gland, followed by penis. Fine. So these are the main parts of a male reproductive system. I'll repeat: scrotum, in which testes are there, followed by vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland. One more gland is there, that is Cowper's gland or bulbourethral gland, and at last it is penis. Now we know that ureter and urethra, they are the part of excretory system, but here the urethra which is present, it is the common path for both the semen, or I can say sperm cells, as well as the urine in a male reproductive system. So it is also known as a urinogenital system. Male reproductive system is also known as urinogenital system because it has a common path, that is urethra, which will pass out urine as well as sperm cells. Is this clear? Now we will discuss about the function of each part in detail. First is the testis. What is the function of testis? Just before few minutes we have seen release of hormone, that is testosterone, and one more function is there, the production of sperm cells. Fine. These testes are located outside the body below the abdominal cavity in a male, in scrotum. Now why is it so? Here the scrotum is acting as the thermoregulator. Thermo means temperature, regulator, the word you know, the meaning of this word you know, right? So thermoregulator means what? It is regulating the temperature. Now why it needs to regulate the temperature? Because the sperms which are released by, or I can say the sperms which are produced by testis, that needs a little bit of lower temperature than that of the body temperature. So because of that reason, these testes are located outside in the scrotum, so that the temperature will be 2 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than that of the normal body temperature, which is very important for the production of sperm cells, right? So this is a very important give reason, right, that why testes are located outside the body, what is the function of scrotum, why testes are located in the scrotum, why scrotum is known as the thermoregulator, right? Now once the testes will produce sperm cells, these sperm cells are traveling through these vas deferens. It is a tube-like structure which is arising from the testes, right? Sperm cells will go on and on through the vas deferens. On the way, it will get some kind of fluid or secretion, I can say, by seminal vesicle, prostate gland and Cowper's gland. So these three glands will add some of the secretions, and this secretions by these three glands will provide nutrients to the sperm cells and also helps the sperm cells to travel. Okay, it provides mobility to the sperm cells. Fine. Once these three secretions will be added to the sperm cells, a fluid like secretion will be produced which is known as semen, right? Followed by, you can see a kind of orange color tissue is there. That tissue is known as erectile tissue, which helps the penis to erect, right? After that, semen will pass through urethra, where the urine will also be there, right? So it may be possible that during the time of ejaculation, only the sperm cells are released and the urine is not released. And when it is the time of urination, of course, urine is released, but along with that may be possible that some fluid, that is semen, may also be released. Okay, hope you have understood what is the function of each part of the system. Fine. Before we proceed further, let us discuss about the common function of a male reproductive system, and they are to produce, maintain, transport and nourish sperms, which are also known as the male reproductive cells, and the protective fluid called semen, to discharge sperms within the female reproductive tract, and to produce and secrete male sex hormone, that is testosterone, right? So these are the three common function of a male reproductive system. Here I have given you the function of each part along with the arrows. You can see the arrows. So these arrows are showing some path, that is from testes the sperms are released traveling through the vas deferens, right? From seminal vesicle, Cowper's gland and prostate gland, arrows are coming out, that is they are releasing their secretions. Again the arrow is moving on and on through the urethra, the sperms, that is through the semen, the sperm cells are ejaculated, and during the time of urination urine is thrown out, right? So please learn each part, labeling as well as the function also. Fine. Now let us discuss about the female reproductive system. This diagram is also given in your textbook. You have to learn how to draw it. Okay. The way we have discussed about the important parts of the male reproductive system, here also oviduct, that is fallopian tube, ovary, uterus, cervix and vagina, they are the main parts of female reproductive system, right? Now let us discuss about the function of each part. We know the function of ovary is to produce egg cell, that is ovum, and female sex hormones estrogen and progesterone. These are the two female sex hormones, and male sex hormone is only one, that is testosterone. Fine. The function of vagina is the entry of sperms during ejaculation. Once the egg cell is released by the ovary and sperms have entered the female reproductive tract, then what happens? The fusion will take place, and that fusion takes place in the fallopian tube, right? Next is uterus. Once the fusion is done, embryo is developed, it gets implanted and developed in the uterus. Okay, and what is the function of cervix? It connects womb, that is uterus, with that of vagina. So these are the 5 main function of the main parts of the female reproductive system. Now you must have one question in your mind, that how come at the age of puberty only these egg cells are produced? So it is not that only at the time of puberty in a female these egg cells are produced. They are already there from the birth time only. Millions of egg cells are present in the ovary, right? And every month, that is every 28 days, one egg cell is released by the ovary, because here you can see a pair of ovaries there, a pair of oviduct is there, right? So simultaneously one by one egg cell is released by the either of the ovary. Fine. Hope it is clear to you. I'll repeat the part of the system. Oviduct or fallopian tube, which is also known as the site of fertilization, that is fusion of male and female gamete will take place. Next is a pair of ovaries, that is the function of producing egg cells and female sex hormones, that is progesterone and estrogen. Okay, once the fusion takes place, the embryo will be developed, which will be implanted and developed inside the uterus. Okay, followed by cervix, which connects womb, that is uterus, to the vagina. And what is the function of vagina? Entry of sperm cells during ejaculation. Okay, you have to learn the function of each part along with the diagram. Extremely important from exam point of view. Okay. Here I have given you the flow chart that shows the path of traveling of sperms. You can see to the left the sperms are entering. Okay, to the left in the oviduct fertilization has taken place. Once the embryo is developed, it will be implanted in the uterus. Okay, but this happens only if the process of ejaculation has happened. What happens if the ejaculation doesn't happen? That is, the sperms are not released in the female reproductive tract. In that case, what will happen? So about that we will discuss a little bit later. Just now just have a look at the path of sperms and the egg cell. Okay. Post fertilization means once the fusion has taken place embryo is developed, and now the time of fetus. Immediately after conception, that is the fusion of male and female gametes to form zygote, the embryonic development begins in the fallopian tube. The zygote divides several times and develops into a fetus. During this implantation process, several changes occur in the uterine wall. Slowly, the organs like spinal cord and neural tube are formed in the developing fetus in the third week. So, what happens when once the fusion is done? Then zygotic formation will start, right? Are you getting? Once the zygote is formed, it gets divided several times and it will be developing into the fetus. In fetus, what are the two first organs developed into a baby? That is the spinal cord and the neural tube. Okay. Subsequently, a special umbilical cord called placenta develops in the fourth week, which establishes an intimate connection between the fetal membrane and the uterine wall. Now, embryo is developed, fetus is developed, but some connection has to be there with the baby to that of the mother. So here what happens? Placenta will be developed, right? Which will be a kind of intimate connection between the fetal membrane, that is of the baby, and the uterine wall of a mother, right? In the placenta, the fetal blood comes very close to the maternal blood, that is mother's blood. Exchange of materials will take place, right? Fetus will get the nutrients, water, oxygen and all the other nutrients from the maternal blood, and all the waste material which are produced in the fetus, it will also be traveling through the placenta only. So placenta serves as the nutritive, respiratory and excretory organ of the fetus. This is extremely important point. How does a fetus get nutrients or develop in the uterus or so on? Describe placenta, describe the structure of placenta. Some or the other way this question is frequently asked. So entire slide you have to write for 3 times and learn it. Okay. Now let us see if the fertilization doesn't take place. Now you know the meaning of fertilization, right? That is the fusion of male and female gamete. Now when the fusion will take place? When the sperm cells are ejaculated in the female respiratory tract. But what if ejaculation doesn't take place? So each of the ovary will be releasing egg cells simultaneously every month. But what is not happening? The ejaculation or the release of sperm cells in a female reproductive tract. So whatever things are happening in a female body, it will go on and on. There will be no changes in the entire cycle. But because your fertilization is not taken place, so zygote will not form. If zygote is not there, fetus will not be formed. If fetus is not there, then that changes which are occurring in the uterine wall, that is in the uterus, it will not take place, right? And this uterine wall is composed of blood vessels and mucus, right? I have already told you in the 6th lesson that whatever sensitive organ systems are there, the entire boundary, in simple words, that boundary is protected by the mucus, okay, which is a sticky substance. Fine. So here in case of uterine wall also, the wall is made up of blood vessels and mucus. So let us see what happens. The ovary releases one egg every month, and uterus also prepares itself every month to receive the fertilized egg. Its lining becomes thick and spongy, which is required for nourishing the embryo if fertilization had taken place. So what this point tells, that every month the female body is preparing itself for a baby. But here, because fertilization has not taken place, means the uterus will not get the fertilized egg, embryo will not be formed, right? So what happens if the egg is not fertilized? It lives for about 1 day and later gets disintegrated, that is broken, okay? When fertilization doesn't take place, the uterine wall lining is not needed anymore. Why? Because embryo is not there only. Then why do you need that uterine wall lining, right? So the lining slowly breaks and comes out through vagina as blood and mucus. This happens roughly every month. The discharge of blood, mucus, and broken pieces of uterine lining is called menstruation, which lasts for 3 to 5 days in a female. Okay? Menstrual cycle begins with puberty. The first menstruation is called menarche, which stops between the age of 45 to 50 years, and stoppage of this menstruation permanently is called menopause, which cycle also stops during pregnancy. Okay, so these are the important things. You have to write it for 3 times and learn it. Extremely important. Fine. Explain the process of menstruation, explain menstruation cycle, what happens in absence of fertilization. Such type of question can be asked for 3 marks. Okay. Now here I have given you some important points. Please go through it. You have to learn the definitions. Okay, and write it for 3 times. Fine. Now the last topic of the unit is reproductive health. Means we are going to discuss something about our own body related to reproduction. Okay, it is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity in all matters relating to the reproductive system and to its functions and processes. In short, what we are going to discuss here about our own physical, mental and social well-being. Why? Because we live in a society and we know that reproduction is not at all essential life process, but yes, to carry out or to go on with the family, we have to carry out this process, right? After getting married to a particular partner. Fine. So it is related to our own physical, mental as well as the social well-being. It includes sexual health, the purpose of which is the enhancement of life and personal relations, and not merely counseling and care related to reproduction and sexually transmitted diseases. So it is not only related to the counseling for the process of reproduction as well as the sexually transmitted diseases, but it is of course related to the sexual health, that is the healthy reproduction cycle plus enhancement of life and personal relations. All should be well aware of accurate information about sexual life, reproduction, contraception methods, which helps to maintain a safe and sexual reproductive health. People could only protect themselves from STDs, that is sexually transmitted diseases, if they are well informed and well empowered about the same. Now about all these things, a little bit, I can say, brief details are already known to you people, I guess, right? Women should be aware of when they would be fit for pregnancy. They must have access to proper medical services when they are pregnant, have a safe delivery and deliver a healthy baby. So why this reproductive health information is important? So one, about the female, first of all, the female should be mentally prepared for conceiving the pregnancy. If the female has conceived the pregnancy, she has to get the proper medical services for her own self and for the upcoming baby. And second thing, the individual has to protect themselves from the sexually transmitted infections and diseases with the knowledge of proper contraceptive methods. Okay, so regarding this we are going to discuss a little bit in detail. Fine. What are the main objectives of reproductive health? So first, it helps in preventing sexually transmitted diseases, which is extremely important, right? It helps in educating every youth about sexual and reproductive health. It creates awareness among adolescents about safe sexual practices. It provides complete knowledge about the early pregnancy, infertility, birth control methods, pregnancy, post childbirth care of the baby and mother, etc. And the last, it protects both the mother and the child from infectious diseases and to deliver a healthy baby. So please learn all these main objectives. Here you can note down these points as the part of importance also. Okay, so please learn these points, write it for 3 times. What is contraception? The regulation of conception by preventive measures or devices to control the number of offsprings is called birth control, and whatever process or whatever methods which we use for birth control, that is known as contraception. Okay, a number of preventive methods or devices have been developed for birth control, which are known as contraceptive methods. The contraceptive methods deliberately prevent means you are using in your own, with your own acceptance. Nobody is forcing you for this. So the methods deliberately prevent the fertilization process, that is the fusion of a male and female gamete, and which this prevention of pregnancy is called contraception. Please learn these definitions. Fine. Now these are the contraception methods used by people. The first is barrier method. The examples I have given you, that is the condoms, femidome and diaphragm. Okay, now these barrier methods, these are the only methods which will help the individual to protect him or herself from sexually transmitted diseases. What are sexually transmitted diseases? The diseases, or they are also known as communicable diseases, which are transferred from the infected person to the healthy individual. Now, how come these infections occur? Through the contact of the body fluids. So, among the contraception methods, barrier methods are the only way, or I can say mechanical barriers are the only devices which will help the individual to protect him or herself from the sexually transmitted diseases. Why? Because in this method only the fluids of a male and female are not coming in contact with each other. Rest all the methods, that is chemical methods, natural methods, surgical method and IUCD, that is intrauterine contraceptive device, in all the 4 methods the fluids are coming in contact with the body of each other, and that will transfer the STD. Okay, so in exam it may be asked that which methods are used by the individual to protect STD. So here you will write only about the mechanical barrier, that is the condoms, femidomes and diaphragm. Okay, just go through the other methods, you will be able to understand. About surgical method, these questions are frequently asked, that which surgical methods are used by a male and female. So they are the vasectomy, which is a small surgery for males. What happens in this surgery? In males, you know that vas deferens tube, right? So in vasectomy, that vas deferens tube is blocked, so the name is given vasectomy. In case of tubectomy, that is related to the surgery of female. Tubectomy, which is the tube-like structure in a female reproductive system? Yes, fallopian tube. So here in tubectomy, fallopian tube is blocked. So here the egg cell is released, but it will not come in contact with sperm cells, right? And abortion, it is the highly restrictive surgical method. Abortion happens only in 2 cases. The first, if by mistake the female has conceived the pregnancy, and second, if some complications are there. And this surgical method, that is abortion, is done only under the guidance of the registered practitioner, only under the guidance of the parents only, right? Others, chemical methods and IUCD, these 2 things are usually used by the females. Okay, and natural method is avoid copulation around the time of ovulation. Ovulation is the time period where the egg is released by the ovary. That happens around 14 to 15 days after the menstrual cycle. Okay, and the second is withdrawal of penis before ejaculation. So please go through each method and the examples, and these things are also important from exam point of view. Okay, last is reproductive health and sexually transmitted diseases. I have already discussed it. Please go through the definition. And yes, second point is extremely important. You have to learn the examples of bacterial STDs as well as the viral STDs. Fine. This is the end of our chapter, and I would like to end our topic with a positive thought, that is, you are capable of amazing things, right? I know that when you look at this quote, or I can say statement, you feel like it's nothing. But when you will sit quietly and think what is your capacity, and that time will come when you can do the miracles. Okay, so never lose hope, work hard, nothing is impossible for you. Okay, this common thing, impossible, you must have heard that the word impossible says that I am possible. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you, have a good day.